Welcome to another episode of Alan's Collections Reviews. And today we have a morphenomenal review. We're talking about the 6th original Ranger, Tommyoliver, my favorite Ranger ever. And he is the wielder of the Dragon Dagger, both friend and foe of the Power Rangers. So, you know what time it is. It's morphing time! Dragon Sword! Super7 Ultimates Mighty Morphin Greenranger. Okay guys, finally the day has come where I get to review my favorite Ranger, the Greenranger. And let's begin by talking about the sleeve box. As we can see here, it's a green box with thunder motif. And of course we can see in the middle the Dragon Sword logo, which is a golden foiled embossed logo with a black background. And of course we can see the name of the figure below, the Greenranger. And moving to the back of the box, we have the mightymorphinpowerrangers logo there, the classic logo that we all grew with back in the 90s. And now that we have removed the sleeve, we can now appreciate the amazing box, guys. And what stands out are those cool lightning bolts on the sides. And then we have the name of the character, the Greenranger. And above Greenranger we have the logo of the 90s, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And of course now we can appreciate the character himself, the figure itself, looking absolutely amazing. A lot of swords there, daggers, the 2 interchangeable head sculpts. And on the back you can appreciate more accessories with a purple background, really nice. And now on the back of the box we have a picture of Tommyoliver himself, looking imposing and menacing. So the Putty Patrols better watch out when he comes, they know it's all over. And of course the picture is surrounded by a nice gold foil, and you can see the gold foil and the picture surrounded by lightning. Really nice lightning there. And below we have information about the character, about the Greenranger, with a nice green Dragon Sword logo there. And on the outline are also gold foil. Really cool, guys. And now let's take Tommyoliver out of the box, guys. Okay guys, let's check the blister box. This figure brings 2 blister trays. So right now I'm going to check blister tray number 1. And of course here we have Mighty Morphin Greenranger. A better look of the Greenranger. And we can see a bunch of accessories here. And of course we can see the 2 interchangeable faces. One happy and one not so happy, under the influence of Rita Repulsa still. Now let's check the second tray. And the second tray, as you can see, brings more accessories. And what stands out is that really cool chest guard, based on the Bandai vintage figure, which was all chromed. Very cool, guys. Now let's get Tommy out of the blister box. Alright guys, here we have the Mighty Morphin Greenranger outside of the box. And this is the original Greenranger from the first seasons of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And of course, the Power Rangers were based on the Japanese show, the Super Sentai Zyurangers. But for me, they will always be the original Power Rangers. The Greenranger has always been my favorite Ranger. Of course, it was portrayed by the late Jason David Frank. And I am very proud to have this figure in my collection. And as you can see, the head sculpt is resembling the Dragon Sword. If you see the visor, You can see the teeth of the dragon sword there. And I like it that it's a combination of white and metallic silver. And also the mouth has a nice metallic silver paint application, as you can see there. And of course, the red gem is looking really, really cool there. So if we look at the rest of the figure, we can see that the figure has a nice painting application. It's really clean and neat. I like the bright green color. I think even the triangles are painted really, really well. As you can see, the triangles, green and white in the arms as well as on the boots, are really, really well painted. One thing I want to point out is that the figures look slim as they looked on the show, and not muscly as some other figures that I have. I'm very happy that Super7 has kept that original look from the show. I'm digging the fact that the morpher in the belt, you can actually read the letters. And if you look closely, you can see the shape of the power coin. And I think it's awesome that Super7 has painted those black lines on the belt, as you can see them. Really, really cool. And I also like that really cool chest armor, which is a muted gold, but still metallic looking. And of course, on the chest armor, we can see the sculpted lines. And no one can miss out that big diamond in the middle with a thick black line, guys. And also you can see part of his armor in the biceps. And you can see on the arms as well as on the boots a metallic golden rim. So I believe this is a very good rendition for the Green Ranger, the original Green Ranger. I think Super7 has done a great job. However, what I'm not liking very much are those pieces that are coming out of the boot. I don't know what it is supposed to be. It's kind of distracting, and I just don't know why it's there. So let's check out the articulation for the Green Ranger, guys. So now let's check the articulation for the Green Ranger. And starting with the head articulation. Now the head moves a little bit forward and slightly backwards. But there's no neck articulation whatsoever. As you can see, it moves to the left and moves to the right. And also it rotates completely. And that's it for the head articulation. Now looking at the torso articulation, as you can see, the Green Ranger has clearly an ab crunch. It crunches forward and it crunches backwards. And also the Green Ranger has a waist swivel. As you can see, you can move it like that, but I will not rotate it completely because I don't want to damage the figure. And that's it for the torso articulation. Now checking out the arm articulation, the arm goes forward. However, it doesn't rotate because of the dragon shield. And the arm goes backwards. I'm sure if I move the dragon shield, the arm will rotate completely. The arm goes out, as you can see. Now also the figure has bicep swivel. It rotates all the way, as you can see. And the figure has a single jointed elbow. The elbow goes up nicely. Moving on to the wrist, there's a rotation on the wrist, and also there's a swivel. You can move the hand up and you can move the hand down. And that's it for the arm articulation for Green Ranger. Now let's check the leg articulation for the Green Ranger. As you can see, the leg kicks forward, but not completely. He will have quite some trouble kicking Goldar, guys. It does move slightly backward. However, the leg goes out fairly much. And moving on to the knee, we have a single jointed knee. As you can see, there's no thigh articulation. And as you can see, there's shin articulation. You can rotate the shin all the way. And moving on to the foot articulation, we have a rocker. The foot goes down nicely. And up. And that's it for the leg articulation. Okay guys, here we have the accessories for Tommyoliver. And as you can see, it brings an insane amount of stuff. Look at that. It's a whopping 18 accessories, guys. Only here we have 8 interchangeable hands. We have 2 here and 6 over here. And definitely, these are one of my favorite, the vintage accessories. So I'll break them down in parts and show you each one. So let's go! Okay guys, first off let's check out Tommy's limbs. As you can see, we have 10 interchangeable hands. We have these 2 that are on the interchangeable arms, and these 6 others that we have on camera. And of course, a couple of fists that come with the figure. But let's begin with the evil head. I remember this head very well. Tommy was portrayed using this headband. And as you can see, his eyes are shining green, meaning he was under Rita's spell still. And there's also some shadowing around his eyes, which means he's evil or hasn't slept very well. So here's Tommy sporting his evil face. And you might remember, if you have seen my Greenranger archive, I mentioned I saw multiple times the Green with Evil arc on my VHS. And of course the Greenranger had this evil look, which I have imprinted in my memories, guys. I do like for this head sculpt the green eyes and the shadowing around his eyes. But I still think this needs more painting applications to bring out the details. But let's carry on. So, regarding the happy face, his hair is well groomed. You can clearly see the ponytail. And you can really see him very happy, like he just saw Kimberly walk into the room. Here's a quick look at Tommy with a good guy face, so you can check him out with the rest of his body. I would have preferred that Super7 did the good guy face without the ponytail, just like the vintage figure, guys. A bit like the evil face, but a little less messy. What I'm not digging is the fact that I feel the face is too plain. I think it would have benefited from painting applications. You can barely see the sculpting details, guys. Now we have some interchangeable arms. So these arms help you showcase Tommy without his dragon shield, as a few times he transferred his dragon shield to other Power Rangers. And these arms have the same articulations as the other ones. It has a bicep swivel, which rotates completely, as you can see here. And we have the first alternate hand, which is the gesturing hand, and which has a wrist rotation and swivel. Let's move on to the other arm. And it follows pretty much the same logic as the other arm, as it has a single jointed elbow and a gesturing hand. Now let's move on to the alternate hands. Let's start with these two. They are nice white hands that look like gloves. And the first one is a grabbing hand, and look at that. It has a horizontal swivel. And you can see it as it goes left and right. And here we have another gesturing hand with two fingers up, and this one also brings an horizontal hinge. Okay, let's put them back, and now let's move on to the next couple of hands. These seem to be the same, both of them grabbing hands. And oh, this one has a vertical hinge. And then we have the left hand, and it also brings a nice vertical hinge. Nice. Let's put them back. Oops. And finally, we have this couple of hands. First of all, we have the flute playing hand. And this one has, as you can see, a horizontal hinge. And finally, we have another grabbing hand. This one is a left grabbing hand, and also with a horizontal hinge. So, as you can see, we get a lot of options in the hands department. Let's check out Tommy's weapons. Now let's move on to Tommy's primary weapons. And starting with the open morpher. He uses this morpher as he's transforming into the greenranger. The power coin is sculpted, as you can see. And you can see the letters Power Rangers very nicely painted there. Now let's move on to the Sword of Darkness. As you can see, it has nice metallic silver. But what stands out, this really nice soft goods tassel. Quite a nice detail, don't you think so, guys? Here's the first appearance of Tommy as the evil Green Ranger. And of course, what makes him evil is him holding the Sword of Darkness. So he only used that weapon in his first episodes to fight the Rangers, until Jason destroyed it. And of course, this was the first time that we saw the Green Ranger using his dragon dagger. Now, I'm just waiting for Super7 to give us Scorpina, because I remember Tommy, Scorpina and Goldar teaming up to beat up the Rangers. Now, moving on to the Mega Hitter. Looks like a gun taken from Star Wars. But this is really the Mega Hitter gun, developed by none other than the Blue Ranger. And this was used against Turban Shell. As you remember, Tommy allowed himself to be swallowed by the monster, so he could hit him with this gun from the inside, whilst Billy was showering cold water from the outside. Now, moving on to the most famous weapon of Tommy's signature Dragon Dagger, which was used to summon the mighty Dragon Sword. The painting application is very neat, as you can see. We can see the different molds on each side. And we can see the Dragon Sword power symbol on each side too. At least, the power sword. The sword has a nice matte black all over the sword. And as you can see, there's metallic silver on the edges. Unfortunately, my sword seems to have arrived warped. It's either that or I do not remember if it was like that on the show. This was the second time that Tommy was under the spell to work for Rita. In the episode where this sword appears, Tommy ends up tricking his friend into summoning the sword and then stealing it for Goldar. And of course then this sword was given to Robogoat. And I only remember this character because I used to have the vintage figure back in the day. Now let's move on to the vintage accessories, guys. And finally, let's look at the vintage accessories, guys. And of course, we have the Dragon Shield, which comes in two parts. One front part. And as you can see, it's chromed all around, inside out. And one rear part. And you can join these two parts around Tommy's neck. Just like this. And of course, I used to have the vintage Green Ranger which only brought this dragon shield, this version of the dragon shield. But on the second day of having this amazing figure, I lost it, so not so good memories, guys. Let's move on to the dragon dagger, which, as you can see, it's painted in metallic silver. The original, of course, was painted in just grey. And here's the hole that used to go in the peg in the vintage figure. And you have the same mold on the front and on the back, unlike the modern one that is painted differently and sculpted differently. And finally, we have the blade blaster, guys. All in white, just like the vintage version. Tommy doesn't bring a modern blade blaster, so this is the only one we get, guys. And that's it for the vintage accessories, guys. Here's a look at the vintage Tommyoliver, sporting his old 1990s Bandai look, just as the toy I used to have. This brings back memories, as I used to play with Tommy fighting the Robogoat. I also used to make him flip his head all the time, and that's how I probably lost the dragon shield. Good memories, guys! So, the Green Ranger, my favorite ranger. It is great that Super7 has given this figure a modern touch, but also has vintage accessories. Of course, the Green Ranger was introduced in that 5-part arc, Green with Evil, back in the 90s. And the Green Ranger kept his power until Lord Zed took the Green Ranger's powers. I really miss Jason David Frank. I am sad that he's gone, but I am thankful for the actor to have given life to such a great character as Tommyoliver. Well, guys, we have reached the end of the review for the Green Ranger. I am pleased in having reviewed this character. There are some things that Super7 could have done better, like of course in the good guy face painting applications, but in the end this is a very good figure. I'm very much liking it. Thank you for watching these reviews. What did you think about the review? What do you think about this figure? Do not forget to subscribe or give a like, and I'll see you on another review in Alan's collection.